I'm Katie Rose. I work for a company called Blackhawk Network. I'm a senior HR business partner. So the key challenges that my organisation was facing before we worked with SuperWellness, I guess like many businesses, navigating that hybrid work and evolving world of work, we recognised very quickly that we needed to move beyond those reactive or ad hoc wellbeing initiatives that we were doing previously. While we had been delivering wellbeing activities each year, they were often sort of standalone, not always aligned with, I guess, the broader challenges our people were facing. And there was an ever-growing need for a more strategic, joined-up approach, and one that felt embedded in our culture, I guess. And we wanted to ensure the support we were offering continued to be relevant, practical, accessible to our increasingly diverse and dispersed workforce. And for us, it wasn't just about ticking that wellbeing box. So our approach to wellbeing changed since partnering with SuperWellness. For example, it really helped us shift our approach from delivering what I mentioned previously, those isolated wellbeing events, to embedding a more consistent year-round programme that's both strategic and sustainable. Before, we had good intentions and some impactful activities, but they sort of lacked that unified structure. So now we have a real clear framework in place with a wellbeing calendar that is thoughtfully planned, aligned with both our business goals and our people strategy. We also have a team now of wellbeing champions that get that support and guidance from SuperWellness, as well as, I guess myself and the HR team. So it's really expanded our ability to be able to deliver some of these, events and the things that we want to do in a much more structured way. One of the biggest shifts has been broadening our definition of wellbeing. So with SuperWellness's guidance, we now look at wellbeing through multiple integrated lenses, for example, physical, mental, emotional and financial. And that's really enabled us to cater to different needs across our workforce and ensure that we offer that what we offer feels genuinely supportive and inclusive of everyone. And that partnership has also helped us engage different parts of the business more effectively. So not just, a one-fits-all approach, sending across our organisation, but also that targeted support for line managers. So wellbeing is not just seen as a HR responsibility, it's actually seen, through, all different layers of the business, and, what their role is in championing those efforts. Previously, SuperWellness have supported with an actual dedicated line manager training, and we've got another one that's coming up, scheduled for this year, because what we really feel is that it's the line managers that are sort of having those conversations with employees, and they're sort of their first port of call when they need support with a mental health crisis or whatever. So making sure our line managers have those tools and have the confidence enough to have some of these conversations, even if it's just signposting to more relevant support for them, has been really crucial in our ability to be able to embed that culture of wellbeing in our organisation. I would definitely say it's a journey. I think there's more work to be done. I think our line managers are definitely feeling like they're getting, more support through those training, but we want to do more. I think we've definitely seen more managers, especially with the other support that we've been able to create as part of this programme, feel more confident with some of the benefits, that they can offer. So, signpost their employees to. So, for example, our employee assistance programme, or, the mental health first aider pool of people that we've now set up, they certainly, through that training, plus all the additional support that we've been able to provide, feel a lot more confident in their approach when speaking with their employees and their teams. what's really stood out, working with the Super Wellness team and how, that has really supported our success is, really, Super Wellness's commitment to understanding our business on a deeper level, and having those dedicated people that you can speak to around, all of the things that we are wanting to do, as well as some of the things that potentially there's gaps, they can really support us with understanding, getting under the skin of our culture and exploring those specific challenges that we face. I would say, their human approach makes a real difference. So it's never a one-size-fits-all solution. It's, what I feel is a true partnership, and, something that was certainly missing before we were able to partner with Super Wellness. It's that, having that, somebody that you can bounce ideas off, but then also get that real knowledgeable advice that they're able to give us as well. Certainly through the sessions that they've been able to deliver both for our wellbeing champions and to our wider workforce, they're really well researched, high quality, and backed by evidence that are really engaging and practical. I know that we've had lots of different real positive feedback on some of the sessions that they've been able to deliver. What they've been able to deliver is in terms of how to make wellbeing feel more relevant to our organisation. So they've been able to deliver in-person sessions, so actually coming on site into our organisation, speaking with our employees, delivering really impactful workshops, but then also virtual workshops as well. So whilst they may be able to come into our UK office, actually some of these sessions that they've been able to deliver, certainly from now, are global. So they're real inclusive and topics which are relevant to a global audience, which has been really brilliant. And I think their approach, language and the content are inclusive and accessible. So it means that we can deliver a wellbeing experience to all of our people, not just to like a section few. Years we've been doing a lot of standalone initiatives, and now we're in a phase where we are really trying to embed that into our culture. So discussing some of these things with Elliot, with his expertise and knowledge, has really, took us from a place where they were very standalone, but now they are much more embedded into the organisation, and they're not reactive, they're awareness based, they are considerate and thought out initiatives that we've been able to run. And they're also, he's really helped us to focus our efforts on things that are really impactful and relevant to the modern workplace. With Elliot's support, and the fact that this isn't a role, a standalone role, it's something that I do in addition to my day-to-day role, which is, very busy, etc. So a lot of the work is already done for you. We have those discussions with Elliot to be able to come up with what is going to have the most impact, etc. So to remove quite a lot of work involved with that and be able to go straight into implementation and delivery has really helped, because it's meant that we're able to keep on top and deliver that continual wellbeing program, as opposed to when I have a bit of free time to be able to put on some of these initiatives. Yeah, so I guess one of the most noticeable outcomes has been the increase in employee engagement. I think because of the amount of work this really, does involve, quite a lot of our initiatives have been quite focused on a smaller section of our workforce. But with the ability to be able to scale some of these initiatives now, because there's things that we do as a business, but there's also things that Super Wellness are able to deliver to a wider workforce. So being able to deliver some of these initiatives, not just to the UK workforce, but then also EMEA, and very recently to our global audience and employees, the participation levels have steadily grown across a variety of sessions and formats, whether that's live webinars or on demand content or in-person workshops. And I think because of the expertise that SuperWellness can bring, those topics are landing, so much better than they were previously, and our people are seeing the value in what we're offering. We've seen a rise in employees reporting that they feel more supported by the organisation when it comes to their well-being. They're showing not only in internal, feedback channels, but through our engagement surveys, and also in their everyday conversations with managers and HR. Yeah, I think well-being has become a key part of our people strategy, not just because of the clear links to engagement, performance, retention, etc. It's because as a business, we genuinely believe it's the right thing to do. When people feel supported in their well-being, they're better able to manage the demands of work, stay motivated, contribute to in a more sustainable way, as well as feel supported both, from a professional perspective and a personal perspective as well. And I think we recognise that the world of work has changed, especially since COVID times, and with it, we definitely are seeing an uptick in employees' expectations. So people want to feel that their employer sees them as individuals, not just as workers. Prioritising well-being helps us create an environment where people can do their best work while also feeling valued and respected. And I don't necessarily think it's about grand gestures or perfection. It's about making consistent, thoughtful choices that support people in the moments that it matters. So, where we've been able to support, an individual employee through, quite a tough time in their life, for example, they're more than likely going to feel, supported, engaged, and, stay with the organisation for a lot longer time than if, we made it hard, in those moments where it truly matters. Yeah, I certainly feel, our ability to be able to attract, new talent into the organisation and retain them is very much centred on our ability to be able to support our people and, how they feel working with us. I think, reputational is a huge thing in businesses, and, treating your people well, your, top asset is absolutely critical to any business's success. And I guess I could talk through some of the challenges that, I've certainly faced, and that's almost people feeling like they need permission from their senior leadership team to attend some of these initiatives, etc. So one of the things that through the guidance from SuperWellness that we worked on was engaging with our senior leadership team, making sure that they were aware of some of the initiatives that we're doing, making sure that they were involved as well, because we recognised, although it's great that we have Wellbeing Champion Group and we have the HR team that are truly passionate in putting out these initiatives, actually hearing from our senior leadership team and seeing how much they were supportive of the things that we were doing really resonated with our employees as well. And that's what's really made a difference. When you've got your managing director speaking about some of the challenges that they've faced from a wellbeing perspective, that's what really, drives change and embeds wellbeing into a culture. Through our senior leadership team, if our line managers are seeing them, attend the wellbeing initiatives, not just attend, but be, involved and speaking around their mental health, it really means that our line managers as well understand that this is an important thing to address, to recognise, to educate themselves on. And that's what I think just really drives, as I said, that culture of wellbeing in an organisation. My biggest advice is don't wait to prioritise wellbeing. I think too often organisations only begin to act when, stress, burnout, disengagement becomes visible problems. And by then you're in reactive mode, which is harder to get out of. I think the real value comes from taking a preventative, proactive approach, one that supports, people before they reach that breaking point. So as well as, having all those preventative measures and benefits that you can offer as an organisation, that's going to reap rewards, later down the line. It's also important, I believe, that wellbeing isn't that one-size-fits-all initiative. Every workforce is, of course, different, and people's needs evolve over time. It's can't really resolve the issues from yesterday. We've got to continually think about what does your workforce need. Make sure that you're staying relevant with your wellbeing initiatives. I think then it builds trust and ensures those initiatives that we roll out are genuinely relevant and not seen as that tick box exercise. Partnering with SuperWellness can make a huge difference. They bring a depth of knowledge, fresh thinking that helps you really build a strategy that structures inclusive and aligned with your culture. So always staying up to date with those emerging topics and trends, which is increasingly important in this fast changing world of work that we're in at the moment.